Simchas Torah Tafshin Pei Daled. In the aftermath of the horrific attacks and the resulting war in Eretz Yisroel, Shas Hadchak has stepped in once again. A first-of-its-kind Shas Mechuluk initiative, Shas Hadchak aims to unite Klal Yisroel through learning during times of challenge. Launching immediately after Yom Tov, thousands united to learn together as a zechus for Acheinu Bnei Yisroel. Because when they come at us with weapons, Hayadayim Yedei Esav, we turn to the most powerful weapon we have, HaKoil Koil Yaakov. And B'siyata D'Shmaya, we completed the learning of the entire Shas Bavli together. The following is a replay of the Siyum representing the thousands who joined worldwide. Here, moving divrei chizuk by Harav Nosson Scherman shlita and fascinating questions and answers from Harav Gershon Ribner shlita. Thank you to all those who took part. May the zechus of the learning stand by Klal Yisroel during these challenging times, and may we all be zechus to see the coming of Mashiach B'Karev. Shas Hadchak, uniting Klal Yisroel one daf at a time.
Siyum of Masechta Nida, the Siyum of Shas. Tanad Ve'Eliyahu. The Yeshiva of Eliyahu said, who is Be'Eliyahu? Most Mefarshim say that is Eliyahu Hanavi. And there's a Gemara that in Ksubis, that Eliyahu Hanavi taught Reb Onan, and that became Tanad Ve'Eliyahu, Rabba and Zuta, which is the sefer that we all know. Others say that there was a Tana named Eliyahu, and Eliyahu was his yeshiva. But most Mefarshim say that there was a Tana Eliyahu, but Tana Eliyahu is Eliyahu Hanavi. So Eliyahu Hanavi taught, Kol Hashayin halachas b'chol yom, everyone who learns halachas every single day, muftach lo shu ben olam haba, guaranteed that he's a ben olam haba. Shenemar, because the pasuk says, halichas olam loy, that Chavaganam is talking about Matan Torah. Kadosh Baruch Hu came to give the Torah, and everything in the physical world just seemed to just disappear, couldn't stand in the way. And Kadosh Baruch Hu gave the Torah, and the end of the pasuk is Halichas Olam Loi. Pasuk Pshat is Halichas, everything that happens in the world is Olam Loi, belongs to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu runs the world. Al tikr halichas ela halachas. Don't read it halichas. It's as if it says halachas. That is a very important yesod. You find many times in Shas and in Medrash, al tikri, don't read it this way, read it the other way. This does not mean that there was a mistake, chalila. If the Shabbos Kriyas HaTorah, if a Balkara would read with the al tikri, you would not be yosh. You'd have to learn over again. What does al tikri mean? Al tikri means that the pasuk is showing us that there's more here than the literal word. Here, for example, halichas olam loy, pasuk pshat, the workings of the world, everything that happens in the world, the laws of nature, are as HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants them to be. Halichas olam, the law of nature, the normal procedure of things happening in the world is loy. It belongs to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There's an extension of that. Since the world was created because of the Torah, and the Torah is the blueprint of creation, therefore it stands to reason that halachas olam loy, that the dinim of the Torah, Taryag Mitzvahs, Shas, Shulchan Aruch, Rambam, that this is what controls the world, because the world was created in order to enable us to perform Taryag Mitzvahs. So therefore, al tikra halichas, don't read it halichas, which means don't read it exclusively as halichas. There's another message here, and the message is that halachas, you learn halachas, oilam loy, oilam haba, belongs to the one who learns the halachas. Hadron halach Masechta Nida. This is the Talmud Bavli. Hadron halach. Daten Olach Masechta Nida v'Talmud Bavli. Dadach Alon. Lom Nishishem Minon Masechta Nida v'Talmud Bavli. Los Nishishem Minon. Labi Almad Odein v'Labi Almad Yossi. Yirasim L'Fanecha Acheinu Eloheinu v'Aviseinu. Shetei Teroscha Uman. Oda Bar Papa. Dora Bar Papa. V'Harav Nosson Scherman. Sibreis Teroscha B'Finu v'Yisam B'Chabes Yisroel. Niyakulonu Anachnu v'Tzetzuenu v'Tzetzoy Tzoyenu. Tzetzoyam Chabes Yisroel Kolonu Yadei Shemecha. L'Ndeis Teroscha L'Shmo. Ne'Vaytrach Shana Mashkimim v'Hei Mashkimim. Onu Mashkimim L'Divrei Torah. V'Hei Mashkimim L'Dvarim B'Teilim. Onu Amelim v'Hei Amelim. Onu Amelim M'Kalbim Sochar v'Hei Amelim. V'Eina M'Kalbim Rasul Fanech Adonai L'Hayvel L'Bikshim Shezatan L'Sayim Masechta Nida v'Talmud Bavli. Sosi Yisichecho. Kivi Yerulim v'Yomei Yivesivilchos V'Chaim. V'Rakyomim B'Mino S'moino Oisha V'Chaved. Adonai Oiz L'Amo Yitein. Adonai V'Reich S'amoy V'Sholem. Skadav Yiskadash Shemei Rabbo. Yamod Yesi Yossi L'Ischad Zman Kariv Yimru Amen. Yehei Shemei Rabbo Mevorach L'Olam. Yomei Yes Shalom Aleinu. El Kol Yisrael. Yimru Amen. Mazel Tov. Mazel Tov.
I'm very grateful to the Miyastim of Shas Hadchak for giving me the opportunity to talk to the people that are really working, learning Shas. People all over the world are uniting in Limud, that it should be a zechus for Acheinu Bnei Yisroel and a Siyum Batzora. This is possibly the greatest zechus that we have, the zechus of Talmud Torah, and it's a Acheinu Bnei Yisroel, and it shows how much Bnei Yisroel b'chol mekayim yishahem feel the tsar and wanting to be mishtatif and do what they could to help in the war effort and to help for the Atzolos Yisrael. All the mishtatifim are doing something very good and very great, and it looks like if somebody just works on just feeling for everybody else, even if they're not able to even be mispal, and even if they're not able to learn Torah for them, that alone, that a person feels for somebody else, even if it's not the whole Klal Yisrael at war. Imagine somebody comes to you and discusses with you all his problems, all his sorrows, and you think, what can I do to help this person? There's nothing I can do. I could commiserate with him, I could sympathize with him, I could show my care, but this is a Rebbeinu Shem's problem. This person has problems that are beyond my scope and my abilities to help. So if you made him feel better because you felt his tsar, that's certainly done. You did something. But let's say he didn't even come to you. You know about his tsar and you feel it. Did you do anything for him? Does that help him? Did you get anyways with that? So I heard B'Shem Reb Shmuel Brudny Zatzal, a fascinating thing. He pointed to the pasuk that Moshe Rabbeinu, it says, "Vayetze el Echav, vayar b'sivloisam." And Rashi says, "Nosan einov v'liboy liyes meitzer aleim." He applied his eyes and his heart. He says, later it says, "Vayar elikim es bnei Yisroel, vayed elikim." HaKadosh Baruch Hu saw Klal Yisrael being afflicted, vayed elikim, and that's when he started the shlichus to send Moshe. Rashi says over there, HaKadosh Baruch Hu was nosan eino v'liboy al Yisrael. So he pointed out the exact same lashon that says by Moshe Rabbeinu, that nosan eino v'liboy vayar b'sivloisam. That same lashon Rashi says on HaKadosh Baruch Hu seeing Yisrael. Vayar elikim es bnei Yisrael, vayed elikim, nosan eino v'liboy aleim. That means to say, he said, that at any time one yid is noiseh ba'il mechaver and feels his pain, even if he has no contact with the person, that's ma'ir the midah and the anhaga l'mayla, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to be noiseh eino v'liboy of kaviyachal alov, and there's no problem that HaKadosh Baruch Hu can't solve. So even if you're dealing with a chaver that has a problem that's beyond your scope and beyond your abilities, that alone that you made imay, even if he doesn't know it, he didn't even get that good feeling that somebody cares for him. It's ma'ir than hogel shalmayla. Kolshkin if there's a zechus from Nosan Eino V'Liboy Liyes Meitzer on Acheinu Bnei Yisroel to want to do and to want to accomplish and to want to use the big koiches. koiches hakdusha that Klal Yisrael have, and that is the limitera ba'achtos, and berabim and betzibur. Everybody's covering their chelik to be mitzurv to a Siyum Shas l'chvoidam asher chelkechem. And let's hope Be'ez Hashem this will be the zechus that Klal Yisrael needs to be menatzeich in this tzara. Everything that every yochid is doing and learning his blood and dedicating himself to this project, the project of Shas Hadchak. We are in a Shas Hadchak. And those who are learning Shas Hadchak, it's going to be their kayach is going to be mitzurif to all of Klal Yisrael's tefillas and all of Klal Yisrael's avodah and all of Klal Yisrael's being nice and hopefully to ashpis him and zichim to wipe them out entirely. I'd like to bring up an interesting question as to why is it that people are mafsik their learning to say Tehillim. We are taught that Talmud Torah is the biggest kayach, the biggest force, and the biggest kayach hagana. Torah is megan be'idna da'asik be'idna lo yasik bo. And all yeshivas and all Talmidei Chachamim are mafsik their Talmud Torah to make Tehillim rallies. What's the mahalach to this? There were Gedolei Yisrael that throughout bombings would not be mafsik their learning. It's known that the Bris Karov, when he was in Barsha, during the beginning of the war, the bombs were falling on all sides. He was learning, and he was mechadish one of the famous shtickle Torah in Sukkah by Tefach Seichik, while the bombs were falling around him. And he was saying on the Kayach Hagan of Torah, and he wouldn't go to any kind of miklat. Wouldn't hide out, wouldn't throw himself on the floor, he just kept on learning. During the War of Independence in Eretz Yisroel, let's see, Reb Shlomo Zalman Zatzal he was pretty close to the fighting. He was in Sha'ar Chesed. And the shelling was all around him. He wouldn't go to the miklat. He was at that time learning with his son, Reb Shmuel Zatzal, learning hours and hours a day. And in the miklat, there wouldn't be shaykh to learn because of all the tumult. So he just stayed in his apartment and just kept on learning straight. Him together with his son, Reb Shmuel, who might have been about 17 or 18 at that time. And they were not afraid of anything. They just felt confident. So if the Torah is the biggest agana, why is everybody being mafsik to be Eisik B'Tfilah? Interestingly, Rabbi Zalman was also there during the bombing in the 48, and he wouldn't go to the miklat either. All of Yerushalayim would go, but he would just stay in his place and keep on learning. There was a time that they felt it was coming so close to him that they prevailed on him to go to the miklat. On his way down, he was hit by some sharpenel. On his way down, when he left his spot. And it was a big problem to get into the hospital because nobody could even go through the streets of Yerushalayim at that time. These people were mostly nervous to get him to a hospital to stop the bleeding, and then he did ultimately got better. He went and convalesced at his nephew's house. Eliezer Shach, who was his nephew, went to Petach Tikva, far from the fighting, to rest up for a few months. But he believed that you don't go to the miklat and just keep on learning. Interestingly, that the Bris Karov was also, he was lying in bed and he was learning. And his children and others prevailed on him, he must go to the miklat now, because of how heavy the raining of the bombs were. And he got up to go to the miklat. And shortly after he got up, this I heard when I was in Bris from Rabbi Yeshua Levi, a bomb hit the bed that he was lying in, and it went up in flames. And the people around the Bris Karov were sure they saved his life. And he said to them, I'm going to demand from you the money for the blanket and the pillow. Had I been there, nothing would have happened. I'm going to demand a payment. You never should have told me to leave. So there was such an hug among Gedolei Yisrael. So what's happening? Why are we not being mamshech the regular Siddur Alimud without any rallies and telling calls? What's the mahalach here? So I guess the most important reason is that it's as important and as powerful as Torah is. Talmud Torah needs a certain madriga to have the shleimus of the Agona. Not everybody learns Torah Shema. Not everybody learns Torah without hefsik. Not everybody is ma'asav merub b'chachmasai. Not everybody is Yerasa Kedem is the Chachmasai. There are many Tanoim for Torah to be b'malasa and b'madrigasa. And it's not only Chidi school that could be Samich, where that Torah is in the perfect Maila. That it has the Koyach Hagana. Rashi says that people are Masmeilim and Torah that turns into Samamovas. Masmeilim, but Rashi says means they're not limited with Chol Koyach. Not every one of us hopefully have some sort of madriga, but nobody can be sure that they have that kind of madriga. That'll be making a matzah and they can be saying on it. And in tefillah, it's not so bad even if the person is not such a tzaddik. State every time the tzibah that doesn't have a tshuva of a rosha in there is not even the skabel the tefillah. So the rosha is a maila, his tshuva b'shas the tefillah. But in Talmud Torah, a person has to be on the right madriga. You have to see the machshata, the tzaddik one of a chassid, in order to have the shleimus of the agona. So that's why he was only on Hogav Yechidi school of Gdei Yisrael. That could certainly be one answer. Maybe one could suggest a different answer. If you look at the Rambam in the beginning of Hilchos Tainis, he's mashma that there's a specific avodah that a person has to do b'shas tzara. And the avodah that he has to do is that he has to declare that this tzara is coming me'eis habayri, and not be toilet in dvorim tiviyim, not in Hamas, and not in other political heads of state, and not in the UN, and not in anything else. Zok the Rambam, the way you declare that this is coming me'eis habayri is ha'yidei being poine elov b'tfilah. And he says that's what Chazal v'goyzet tanesim on kol tzara shlitovi beis v'hei v'hab. For that reason, just to indicate and to show l'miyatem poinim, where do you think this tzara is coming from? Do you think this is voluntivim, or do you recognize it's meis habayri, and there are some tviyas on us that we have to try to overcome? So that's another reason why we're mafsek l'tfilah. The koyach hagon of Torah could be bigger, but we have to do that avodah of recognizing the Yad Hashem is guiding anything and everything, any difficulty, any tzar, and every Yeshua is all coming meis habayri. So that'll be an additional reason why a person should be Isaac with tefillah no matter what. There might be, may I suggest a third answer as to why you're not just saying on the koyach haTorah. The koyach haTorah to be megan is tremendous. But that's all that it should be making, that a charinaf shouldn't come. Once there is a charinaf, there is a Gzeira Yisrael, we are instructed to do things that are meishav chema and get rid of the charinaf. There are things, there are koiches that Klal Yisrael has. Aaron HaKohen was maktik teiras, Yosimu Teira ba'apecha. There were things to do to be mefayis the charinaf. One of the things that we have today, we don't have keteiros today, but we have what it says in the nusach of the end of Tachton, misratze u'mispayis b'sachanuna. Ha'idei tachnuna ma'akadosh baruch hu is misratze and mispayis. That's a pious to the charinaf. Once the charinaf is yotza, once they've attacked us, and we're under attack, we're under siege, and we're hurting, then we have to do things that are mefayis the charinaf. And manarach yoshev chema, and that was the avodah being mispal, and not just being samech on the koyach haTorah. And even those that learned through the bombs, they definitely were mishtativ in some atzeres tefillah at some point, because of these two avodas. One is to declare where it's coming from, and then you recognize that everything is meis habayri, and secondly, to do what you could to be mefayis the charinaf. I want to address just one other question that I've been asked a number of times. That when Klal Yisrael came to Eretz Yisroel, the Torah was mitzvah, lo yisachaya kol neshama, wipe out every one of those yoshvei orts, all the zainam. That means men, women, and helpless children. Shech them all. Similarly, we're mitzvah on a molek, not even a zecher. May oilu bad yoinik, mishor bad sebi gomu bad chamar. And people want to know, like, so aren't we hypocrites? Like, aren't we doing exactly what Hamas does? This is the derech haTorah, to go kill innocent children. Like, how does this work? So we say, of course, the HaKadosh Baruch Hu is mitzvah, which is a very good reason. And if it's coming from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's just. They're not coming from any tzav meis HaMokim Baruch Hu. During the Crusades, that all those people coming in the name of a holy cause, they're coming b'shem nothing. It's sheker. But that's enough of an answer for us. It's not enough of an answer for them. They believe that they're doing a holy war. So how do we explain to them the difference of what we're doing and what they're doing? In the name of your religion, you just do what you believe your deity is telling you to do. So how do we justify what we do? And the answer to this question is that when we fight, let's say the Zayin Amimim, when he came into Eretz Yisroel, it's very obvious and glaring the divinity in the way we fight. It's not like we're very well armed and we come against helpless women and children in the name of a holy cause and start killing them. We blow shofar and the walls come down. We're not doing things on our own, with our own might, when we're clearly much stronger than them. Nothing like that is happening. What's happening is that you see that it's Me'is HaBeirei. You see Nisim and Afloy is going on. You see the Jordan splitting for us to go into Eretz Yisroel. So it's nicker that this is Me'is HaBeirei. But when you just come, sneak in, break through the walls, sneak in on people not expecting you, that's not nicker that this is from any divine source. That is al pi seder hateva, that you can of course kill people. That's plain old Tzich. Do you know, when we went to war, if we had powerful warriors, but they were a little sinful, they did a small avera, at some point in their life, they were sent back from the front. You're not fit for war. We don't fight with the Gibayim, we fight with the Tzadikim. We fight with the Zkenim. We fight with the Chofetz Chaim and Chaim Ozer leading the battle. We don't fight with the warriors and the guys well trained. So it's obvious that it's a divine mission. So when you see the divinity, you can't ask any questions. That is coming Me'is HaBeirei Baruch Hu. But when you don't see it, it's not nicker. Like all the times when these Umasayim do it, that's plain old Tzich, and that's just annihilation, and that has no justification. So I believe that should be a satisfactory answer for that question. So Baruch Hashem should help that all our tefillin should be in this Kabbalah Barachim and Baratzan, and everybody's avodah, be it his learning, be it his maslas of Talmud Torah, be it his ishtatvus boil, be it his donating money, whatever he's doing, it should all be l'ratzan, and it should be ma'ira l'rachmim, and it should be ma'ira ha'kadosh baruch hu should be nice-and eino v'liboy l'tovus Yisrael, and we should come out of this on the way, Yemei Hashem, to the Gula Shleima, Meir B'Yameinu, Amen.
There's a beautiful Ramban on the pasuk of Yaakov Avinu and his mishpacha coming back from Golus Lavan to Eretz Yisroel. The pasuk says, Yaakov Avinu saw Malachei Elokim, and he named this place Machanoim. And everybody knows the Rashi that he saw there was a ladder. The Malachim of Chutz La'aretz were going back up to Shemayim. The Malachim of Eretz Yisroel were coming to be Mekabel Panim, to greet him coming back into Eretz Yisroel. And he called it Machanoim, double Machna. There are two Machanos. The Machna of Malachei Eretz Yisroel, and the Machna of Malachei Chutz La'aretz. The Ramban says a beautiful pshat. The Ramban says, and let me read it to you. Machanehu v'machnehu Elokim. Machanehu, Yaakov Avinu's own machna, and the machna of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Loimar, to tell us, ki machanehu ba'oretz, the machna of Yaakov Avinu on earth, Yaakov and his mishpacha on earth, ki machnei ha'malachim, just like the machna of the malachim, the malachim malo. That's the machanoim. Two machanos, Yaakov Avinu's machna here on earth, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu's machna, the malachim. Kulam, machanos Elokim, Mevarchim Loi, both of them, our Machna, Klal Yisroel, and the Machli Malachim, both of them, bless the Rabbeinu Shalom, bench the Rabbeinu Shalom, umaydim b'yechudai, and they acknowledge that there's nothing like Rabbeinu Shalom, there's nothing like the uniqueness of the Rabbeinu Shalom. Yizbarach Shemai, la'olamim. I was thinking that, in a sense, maybe we can combine both Perushim of Rashi and the Ramban and apply them to the matzah that we're in today, the matzah of Acheinu Bnei Yisroel and Eretz Yisroel. The people who were suffering, the soldiers who were risking their lives and many losing their lives to protect Klal Yisroel, and the hostages, may they remain alive and safe and be rescued as soon as possible. There's a machne here in this world. There's a machne there in Eretz Yisroel. The machne Eretz Yisroel is a machne Elokim. They're Acheinu Bnei Yisroel. And those who are being Moser Nefesh on the front lines in Gaza, and the hostages as well, are being Moser Nefesh for the benefit of Klal Yisroel. Klal Yisroel means us. Not only the 7 million or so Yidden who live in Eretz Yisroel. Klal Yisroel is one unit. Klal Yisrael is one Adam. Adam Atem. We're all one. And we've never seen such, in my lifetime, which is a long time, we've never seen such achdus in Klal Yisrael as we see now and in the last several weeks, and Mir Hashem in the future. We're all united. Machne, Machanoyim, Machne here, the Rabbeinu Shalom's Machne. We're all serving the Rabbeinu Shalom. I was once sitting at Tzedakah event. I was sitting next to Reb Shabsi Yudalevich, Zichron Livracha, one of the very famous Magidim in Eretz Yisroel, many, many years ago. This goes back 50 years. It was shortly after the Yom Kippur War. And Reb Shabsi told me that there was a military cemetery. Soldiers were buried there who fell during the war. And they made a ceremony to dedicate this Beis Olam. And it was primarily a secular event. And people were there from the government and the military and academia and the professions, and everybody speaking in praise of the soldiers. And Reb Shabsi, Rabbi Yudalevich, was a representative of the Charedim, of the Frum community. And he was last, or maybe next to the last speaker. And he got up and he said, everything that we heard about the soldiers is true. Their courage, their Mesiras Nefesh, their dedication to Klal Yisroel, every word was true. And you're probably wondering, so what did the yeshiva light do? What did the yeshiva light do? What did the Koil Yunga light do? And all of these secular audience, they got up on the edge of their chairs. What did the draft dodgers do? What did they really do? And Shabsi said, when the outbreak of the Yom Kippur War, the military called in the heads of the Chevra Kadisha from the whole country, and they told them, prepare 80,000 kvarim. 80, be ready for 80,000 korbanos. The first couple of days of the war, it was going very, very badly for Acheinu Bnei Yisroel. Moshe Dayan, the great hero, had almost a nervous breakdown. He came into a cabinet meeting and shrieking, he said, it's all over. And Baruch Hashem, the Rabbeinu Shalom helped. It wasn't all over. And Reb Shabsi said, you want to know what the yeshiva light did, what the Koyach HaTorah did? They told us to prepare 80,000 kvarim. There were 2,700 korbanos in the war. 2,700 too many. Not 80,000. That's what the Torah accomplished. That's what the yeshiva light accomplished. And that, what all of us together, Shas Hadchak, learning Torah, making the Siyum HaShas, as a zechus for Acheinu Bnei Yisroel in Eretz Yisroel. That's what we're accomplishing. Let me tell you, there are many stories that have come out of the last several weeks. The achdus, the Avos Yisroel of Acheinu Bnei Yisroel. Let me tell you just one story. A Malamed in Yerushalayim recorded this story. He got a telephone call from a woman, stranger. She introduced herself as someone who does not keep mitzvahs at all, totally secular. And she said she went to a store, a makola, a grocery store, to buy milk and bread. And she saw a little yingala there, a payas, a yeshiva bachar, young child, and he had something pinned onto his shirt. And she asked him, well, what is that tag on your shirt? He said, that's my soldier. Your soldier. What do you mean that's your soldier? I'm going to bring him back safe to his mother. How are you bringing him back safe to his mother? What do you have to do with the soldier? And he said, I learned for him, I daven for him. When I go to bed, I say Shema Yisrael for him. And in that zechus, he's going to come back to his mother. He is guarding us in Gaza, and I'm guarding him in my yeshiva in Yerushalayim. And the lady asked him, well, what yeshiva do you go to? Told the name here. What's your Rebbe's name? And she called the Rebbe, and she told him this story. And she said, I regret I did not raise my children this way. Rabbi say, Eis Torah Yaakov. Eis Torah Yaakov. Mimeno Yivosheya will be saved from this Eis Torah Yaakov. In what zechus? In what zechus? That little boy in Yerushalayim, the Yungalite who are sitting and learning. In Reb Shavsi Levich's time, most of the Medina was against Charedim. Today, there's more and more respect and hakaras hatov to the Charedim. There's a recognition that the Eibusher feared the Welt. Halichos olam loy, al tikra halichos ala halachos. The Bnei Torah are the ultimate salvation of Klal Yisroel. Let's be makir tov. Let's continue. The world is changing, but we know that the Rebbeinu Shalom runs the world. And the Rebbeinu Shalom created the world for the sake of Torah, for the sake of Klal Yisroel, for the sake of Shmiras HaTorah, for the sake of Limud HaTorah. One more thing. Achav HaRosha, the worst of the worst. Achav HaRosha was never defeated in battle. David HaMelech, Bilon David HaMelech, did suffer defeats and casualties. Why, the Gemara asks. And the Gemara says, because Achav's people were united in Rishus, but they were united. In David's time, there was the Ilturia. David, all of his life suffered from criticism and from hatred from his own brothers, not to mention other Shvatim in Klal Yisroel, Plishtim. David HaMelech suffered all his life from a lack of Achdus, and that's why he could suffer defeats. Baruch Hashem, today there's Achdus. Let's maintain the Achdus. Among ourselves, let's maintain the Achdus. And b'Shas Hadchak, let's continue learning Shas together. And in that zechus, Eis Torah Yaakov, u'mimeno Yivosheya b'viyas hagoyel b'mhera v'yameinu. Amen.